Fantasy fanfiction. Myth resurrection. I can plan the future in advance. Chapter 1. Parallel world, brain storage place. Pei Jun, who was sleeping, suddenly woke up from the bed and looked around blankly. In sight is a narrow and cramped rental house. This is. Pei Jun's pupils suddenly shrank and his breathing stagnated. Am I dead? Looking at his body without any scars, Pei Jun seemed to have thought of something. He suddenly rolled over from the bed and rushed to the balcony. It's not a dream. I am truly reborn. Pei Jun looked in disbelief at the calm mountains and sky in the distance, as well as the peaceful city in front of him, and shouted in shock. He clearly remembered that the city of Hangzhou was destroyed and he died tragically among the monsters. He still remembers the heartbreaking pain caused by the monsters tearing flesh and blood, and the suffocating darkness and coldness brought by the heavy rain that night. And the unwillingness and despair when he was dying. Unexpectedly, when I opened my eyes again, everything would be back to the starting point. He actually returned to 2 months before Xinhua's revival. At this time, the whole world is still immersed in a peaceful environment. No one would have thought that the whole world would undergo earth-shaking changes in 2 months. The myth is revived. All spirits evolve. Ancient myths have revived from the long river of history, and old legends have gradually become reality. There are miracles floating in the sky and spiritual treasures appearing in Mingchuan days. Demons are entrenched in the barren mountains and forests, and hundreds of ghosts are rampant. There are saints who utter holy words to suppress all monsters, there are giant monsters roaring on the mountain tops and fighting with the heaven and earth, and there are even magic swords that trigger the thunder and light of the 9 heavens god to chill the 9 states. The sky and the earth are violent and unpredictable. Sometimes the thunder is like a prison, sometimes it rains heavily, and sometimes the earth dragon turns over. Chaos and darkness begin to spread. Some people say this is a brilliant era. Because of the resurgence of myths, the evolution of all spirits, people have found their way to heaven. Some people also say that this is a dark era, because the order has collapsed, the world has changed dramatically, and human lives are like grass. For Mr. Pei in his previous life, this was an out-and-out dark age. After living an ignoble existence for more than 10 years, he was finally filled with unwillingness and resentment and was eaten by a group of monsters and died. But for the current Pei Jun, this is definitely a brilliant era, and it is a brilliant era that belongs to him alone. Because the revival of mythology has not yet completely arrived. What does that mean? This means that the famous magical weapons, spiritual treasures, cave heavens, and magical powers from the past life have not yet appeared. They are all ownerless things. Thinking of this, Pei Jun's heart beat violently involuntarily, and his breathing became much heavier. But now, he can get ahead of everyone. Rely on the memory and experience of your previous life to seize the opportunity and collect these magical weapons, spiritual treasures, skills and magical powers. Be one step ahead. Lay out the future. At this thought, Pei Jun clenched his fists with fierce eyes. He didn't want to go back to the dark life of living like an ant in his previous life. In this life, he will take the lead step by step, stand at a height that everyone can see, and reach the top. He will make all those people and forces who betrayed him and hurt him in his previous life pay their due price. The price of blood. After suppressing his excited thoughts, Pei Jun immediately began to think about the information about the whereabouts of the magical weapons, skills, and supernatural powers that he knew from his previous life. After the mythology is revived, these magical weapons, skills, magical powers, etc. will all be priceless treasures. The accumulation of more than 10 years in his previous life has allowed him to master a large amount of advanced information. Pei Jun quickly recorded this information one by one using his own coding method to avoid forgetting it later. After comparing the time and location, several priority targets were finally identified. Among them are 3 top treasures, which Mr. Pei is bound to get. The first one is one of the top techniques that currently ranks highest in Pei Jun's mind. Picture of hanging drum at sunset. It is said that this is the concept of immortality passed down from Sakyamuni, and is the first of the 16 visualization diagrams in Buddhism. Practitioners can create precious light-glazed Vajra bodies, and acquire several top innate magical powers, as well as other unknown legendary secrets. Direct access to the land of fairyland. At the same time, he is also the top power of the Chinese country in the previous life, the foundation of Baoguang Buddha. I remember that in the 8th year of the revival of the myth in the previous life, Pei Jun was lucky enough to see the majesty of Baoguang Buddha. At that time, the battle between humans and monsters had already begun. Baoguang Buddha sat on the front line of the battlefield, relying on the terrifying Arhat Dharma and the Baoguang glazed Vajra body to destroy a giant monster with a calamity level. The original Pei Jun was deeply shocked. And now, this top-level visualization picture that can make people break their heads and fight for it in the past life is hanging naked on the official account of Christie's auction house. Auction next week. The second item is one of the top Taoist treasures in previous lives, the Sanqing Bell. Pei Jun had no chance to appreciate the power of this treasure in his previous life, but he had heard a shocking rumor. Exquisite vibrations, clearing all directions. Vibrate the Dharma bell, and the Haihei River becomes silent. Legend has it that if this treasure is activated, it can even change the general trend of the world and activate ghosts and gods. It is one of the few things that can be called a top treasure during the revival period of mythology. And this treasure is currently lying in an antique shop in Hangzhou. As for the third treasure, it has not been released yet. As long as these three things are obtained, when Xinhua revives, even if Mr. Pei cannot run wild, he will definitely have the capital to reach the top. Therefore, he is bound to get these three treasures. But before that, he still needs to solve one problem, which is money. Pei Jun frowned. Although these three treasures have not reached the status of priceless treasures in the previous life, they are still good antiques. The price is not cheap. Just like the visualization of the hanging drum at sunset, the starting price given by Christie's auction house is 5 million yuan. The final auction price will definitely be high but not low. Pei Jun made a rough estimate based on the information on the internet, and the transaction price may not be less than 20 million yuan. As for the price of Sanqing Bell, it is much lower, but it is still a price of less than a million. There are also several other magical treasures. If he wants to get them all, he must prepare at least 40 to 50 million in funds. Pei Jun looked at the estimated amount with a toothache. He was working part-time and was very poor. His savings in a year could only be 40,000 to 50,000 yuan. But there is still a 1,000-fold gap between 40 and 50 million. Where can I prepare these 30 to 40 million yuan in a short period of time? The ambition of rebirth was poured cold water on the head. Pei Jun frowned, the memories of the 2 lifetimes surged crazily, and his brain began to work rapidly. How to make money? I don't think about breaking laws and disciplines now, after all, he can't bear the bullet yet. It's even more unrealistic to make money at work. Even if their company is sold, it won't be worth so much money. What else can be done? Pei Jun fell into deep thought. Just when Pei Jun was clueless, he suddenly caught a glimpse of 2 lottery tickets discarded in the trash can. A flash of lightning suddenly flashed across the foggy mind, and some long-lost memories suddenly surged out of the complicated memories. The running brain suddenly stopped, and Pei Jun's eyes suddenly lit up. Got it. Lottery, double-color ball. I have overlooked something before. The time of his rebirth was 2 months before Xinhua's resurrection. In other words, he can now not only seize the opportunity of Xinhua's recovery period, but also seize the opportunity of Xinhua's recovery 2 months ago. Just like the lottery jackpot that will be announced this month. Thanks to the daydream of windfall, Pei Jun has always had the habit of buying 2 lottery tickets after get off work. The lottery ticket thrown in the trash can was the one he bought last night. Seeing the lottery tickets in the trash can at this time, a memory from a previous life emerged in Pei Jun's mind, and a set of memorable lottery numbers gradually appeared in his mind. Pei Jun's expression suddenly became excited. It is this set of numbers in my mind that won a multi-million level jackpot in the previous life. As for why he remembers it so clearly. Because the winning numbers of this set of 2 color balls are surprising and even a bit unbelievable. The winning numbers in the previous life were very rare straight numbers in the entire lottery history. It can be said to be extremely rare. Unforgettable. The past life has even aroused doubts among many lottery players and set off a wave of heated discussions about lottery tickets. So Mr. Pei still remembers the winning numbers, the 7th of May 09, 16/18. The rules are obvious and simple to remember. But now, all this is cheaper for Pei Jun. Pei Jun's brows that were frowning just now had already relaxed, and even the corners of his mouth were raised high, and his eyes were shining. Sorry, future lottery winners. Now, the grand prize is his. This will be the first step in his rise. A crucial step. Pei Jun quickly looked at the date and remembered that the grand prizes in the previous life were awarded on the last Thursday of May. And now it's Wednesday. That is tomorrow. Feeling urgent, Pei Jun directly picked up his mobile phone and walked out of the rental house. The rental house that Pei Jun lives in belongs to an old community. There is a lottery shop at the entrance of the community next to the Sinao station. Pei Jun is familiar with the road. The store had just opened, and there was no one there except an old man who was a regular customer, who was studying the trend chart, and the owner was cleaning. Seeing Pei Jun enter the door, the shop owner greeted. "What, did you win the lottery last night?" "Nope." Pei Jun shook his head and said. The shopkeeper chuckled. "I see you've never been here during the day. I thought you were here to redeem your prize. It's not that easy to win the lottery." The regular customer who was looking down at the trend chart looked up and said. The shop owner chuckled. He couldn't destroy his own sign. He didn't answer any more and greeted Pei Jun and said, "Do your own research first." As he spoke, he continued to clean. Pei Jun sat down to avoid attracting too much attention. He pretended to study it for a while as usual, and even discussed the trend with a regular customer. Then he filled in the numbers in his mind and called the boss to place a bet. The boss was very fast, and after a few clicks, the freshly minted lottery ticket was in Pei Jun's hands. Looking at the still warm lottery ticket in his hand, Pei Jun checked it a few more times to confirm that there was nothing wrong, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Got it. Just wait until tomorrow. After receiving the lottery ticket, Pei Jun only felt that the urgency and depression since his rebirth were slightly relieved, and he had a leisurely breakfast on the way back. Arrived at home. As soon as Pei Jun walked in, the phone rang. After Pei Jun changed his shoes, he took out his phone and took a look. His brows instantly furrowed and he saw the 3 words, "Joe Poppy," displayed in the call note. The unforgettable memories of the previous life suddenly flooded into my heart. The disgust and cold murderous intention coming from the depths of my heart also surged up, even dispelling the joy of just buying the lottery ticket. Pei Jun's expression was cold and he answered the call calmly. Without having to broadcast it, Pei Jun could already hear the violent and sharp voice coming from the other end of the phone. "Pei Jun, where are you? What time is it now? Don't you want to do it anymore?" Fierce machine gun words were spewed out on the phone, and Pei Jun said with a cold expression. The sound was interrupted directly. "What are you? I don't listen to reasons. I'm telling you. Donate according to the company's system and send it to the finance department immediately." Pei Jun listened to the voice on the phone with cold eyes and pulled the phone away. It wasn't until the sound on the phone finally stopped that Pei Jun said calmly to the phone. "I said, I quit." In his previous life, he was tired of this week's work. He only knew how to work overtime all day long and squeeze out the residual value of employees. Moreover, he is extremely double-standard and selfish, completely disregarding the life and death of employees. What an idiot. Especially when the myth of the past life is about to be fully revived, chaos is already happening outside. Natural and man-made disasters often appear in the news, and many people are reluctant to go out. But Joe Poppy forces everyone in the company to clock in on time, otherwise their monthly wages will be withheld, social security payments will be stopped, and even year-end performance will be affected. At the beginning, no one knew what the future would be like, so they had no choice but to go to the company. The final result was that the city of Hangzhou collapsed, and the office buildings where Pei Jun and others worked collapsed, causing numerous casualties. Pei Junming was lucky enough to escape. But he was also seriously injured, which delayed his later development, causing him to fall behind step by step. It can be said to be the beginning of all tragedies. Time is running out now, and the social order has not yet collapsed. He is too lazy to waste time with this kind of rubbish. He will clean up this rubbish later when Shinhua is free to recover. So after Pei Jun finished speaking, he hung up the phone. When the phone was hung up, there was a burst of helpless surprise and angry shouts from the other side. In an office building in Hangzhou, a middle-aged man with splayed eyebrows yelled several times at the hung-up phone, but all he could hear was a blind tone. It was Joe Bappy, the boss on the other end of the phone from Pei Jun. Joe Bappy's face turned black, he looked at the hung-up phone angrily, and finally cursed viciously. Okay. As he spoke, his fingers were typing quickly. You're being angry with me, aren't you? I want to see if you can do it. Soon after editing several messages, Joe Bappy clicked send viciously, and then thought with a sneer. You're not going to do it anymore, are you? I want to see if you are convinced or not. After Pei Jun hung up the phone, before he could do anything else, countless WeChat messages popped up quickly. When Pei Jun looked at it, a strong coldness flashed in his eyes. The news came from Joe Bappy. The general content is to ask Pei Jun to consider the consequences of resigning. The company will not give him a chance to regret. Then he also said, because his sudden resignation has seriously affected the company's work and development, his salary will not be settled this month. Ida Euro-S already the 25th of this month, which means that Pei Juna Euro-S previous 25 days were all in vain. Pei Jun sneered. I'm afraid that among so many words, the last one is the key. If he really had to be manipulated by Joe Bappy in his previous life. But now, Pei Jun glanced at the lottery ticket in his hand, sneered disdainfully, typed a few words and replied. No more salary. I reward you. After saying that, just block the person and delete them. In the office building, after Joe Bappy finished sending the message, he made himself a cup of hot tea, and then leaned back on the office chair comfortably. He was sure that Mr. Pei would definitely ask him to give in. Then beg him. For poor wage earners like Pei Jun, wages are their life. He has seen too much. If you hold on to your wages, you hold on to their lives. Without wages, they are not even qualified to survive in this city. A bunch of rubbish. Joe Bappy smiled sarcastically, waiting for Mr. Pei to beg him to let him go. Ding dong. Hearing the cell phone notification tone, Joe Bappy sneered, secretly thinking that it was indeed coming. He picked up the phone contemptuously and clicked on the message sent by Pei Jun. The expected resignation was not there, but instead two very contemptuous words. No more salary. I reward you. The moment Joe Bappy saw the news, he jumped up from his chair, his face turned black and his breathing became more rapid. Then he sent several messages to Pei Jun with an excited look and an extremely angry tone. But what was left for him was a red exclamation mark. You are not his friend yet, please send a friend verification request first. Looking at the naked red exclamation point in the dialog box, Joe Bappy's eyes widened, blood rushed to his forehead, and he screamed like crazy. How dare he? The harsh and shrill voice passed through the entire office, causing many people in the office to whisper. Who made Joe Bappy so angry? Good guy, so awesome. Finally someone can cure Joe Bappy. I don't know who the big boss is, give him a thumbs up. On the other side, Pei Jun suppressed the boiling murderous intent in his eyes, which meant that he was too lazy to waste time with this kind of garbage, otherwise he wouldn't mind teaching him how to behave. Put down your phone and prepare to practice. Now that the money is not in place, other plans cannot be carried out. Cultivation is the only thing that can be done at the moment. Officials in previous lives have made it clear that the globally recognized starting date of MIT's recovery actually refers to the start time of MIT's global recovery. That is 2 months later, July 25th. But half a year before this, MITs in various countries had actually begun to recover on a small scale and on a small scale. In other words, at the time when Pei Jun was reborn, the revival of mythology had already begun, and there was also the existence of spiritual energy in the world and the birth of some strange events. You can already practice. With rich experience in his previous life, Pei Jun quickly entered a state of cultivation, with his 5 hearts facing the distant mountains. I don't know how long it took, but a faint halo slowly surrounded Pei Jun. The halo rose and fell with his breathing, making Pei Jun look more extraordinary. Until it gets dark. Pei Jun finally woke up from practice, and the halo surrounding him also dissipated. During this half-day of practice, he had indeed sensed the existence of spiritual energy, which meant that the revival of the myth had indeed begun half a year ago, as stated in the previous life. But half a day of practice has yielded little results. It is not as effective as the cultivation effect of a few moments during the revival of the myth in the previous life. Maybe it's because the spiritual energy in the world is still relatively weak now, or maybe because his cultivation technique is too rubbish. Pei Jun couldn't help but frown when he thought about the skills he practiced. Because the sunset hanging drum visualization chart has not yet been obtained, he can only practice the techniques he practiced in his previous life for the time being. Taiching Qi Mind Refining Method. The fundamental mental method he practiced in his previous life. It sounds very profound, and the name even refers directly to Taiching. But it is just the basic mental method of the bad street in the previous life, one of the popular products when Taoism and Buddhism were competing. If you practice it to the highest level, you can only reach the state of Taoism's pulse opening. To put it simply, it is rubbish. In his previous life, he didn't have many opportunities, he started a few steps later than others, and the process was even bumpy. This was the best mentality he could get at that time. Pei Jun sighed. This half-day of practice has strengthened his determination. You must seize the opportunity in advance and collect all the magic weapons, spiritual treasures, skills and magical powers that have not yet been born. Otherwise, relying only on his rubbish skills and ordinary talents in his previous life, he would never be able to reach the top in this life. A tricycle can never beat a sports car, even if he sets off early. After lamenting a few times, Pei Jun got up and washed himself, then went to bed. The next day, after Pei Jun got up, he watched the news for a while. His past life experience told him that all magical weapons, spiritual treasures, magical powers, and secret realms would more or less cause certain visions when they were born. It is impossible for him to remember all the information from his previous life, so searching for key information through the news has become one of the necessary means. At the same time, you can also pay attention to the extent of the revival of mythology. For example, there was a news piece this morning. A strange phenomenon of light appeared in Kunlun Mountain in the early morning, and the pavilions of Shantai loomed in the sea of A clouds. Pei Jun clicked on the video and saw that the picture was dark, with the outline of a towering tower vaguely visible. The video lasted for more than 3 minutes, and the whole process was dark and shaky, with blurry images. Only at the end, a moment of astonishing light suddenly appeared in the screen. The majestic Kunlun snow peak towering into the sky emerged in the light. However, there is no trace of the Sendai Pavilion described in the news at all in the picture. Many netizens cursed in the news and said, "Writer of sensational headlines. Traffic fraud in the morning. It turns out that the editor is on drugs." Pei Jun finished watching the video with a thoughtful expression. Compared to the unanimous skepticism of netizens, he felt that the news description was probably true. Maybe someone actually saw the phantom of Sendai Pavilion last night. Kunlun Mountain, as the ancestor of all mountains in mythology, was one of the earliest Mingchuan daises to be revived and born during the myth's revival period. Past life experience. The revival of myths will inevitably lead to visions, just more or less, big or small. Kunlun Mountain is a mythical mountain, and it also contains countless magical weapons, spiritual treasures, and magical powers. Even the cave heaven and paradise left over from the mythical age as well as the secrets of mythology. When he was born, he would naturally trigger countless strange and magnificent visions that would shock the world. It is inevitable that someone will witness it. In other words, Kunlun Mountain has now begun to recover. Pei Jun was thinking about the information he got from the news. He was wondering whether he should go into the Kunlun Mountains to explore in the near future, but he immediately rejected his idea. Because Kunlun Mountain is too dangerous. Even though the myth of the previous life has been revived for more than 10 years, no one dares to explore Kunlun easily, and no one has ever been heard of climbing to the top of Kunlun Mountain. I only occasionally heard that some people gambled their lives or broke into Kunlun accidentally, and luckily survived, and obtained peerless spiritual treasures and magic weapons. Legend has it that there are 9 levels of heaven above Kunlun Mountain, leading directly to the mythical heaven. Of course, there are also terrifying and unique beasts, as well as strange and dangerous situations. You know, Kunlun Mountain is the first of the 10 restricted areas during the revival period of the myth of the previous life. If it has not yet revived, Pei Jun may still explore it, but now that it has begun to revive, the strange and mysterious changes inside may have already begun. If someone mistakenly enters it, they may find that the Kunlun now is no longer the Kunlun it once was. He has no strength at all now. Entering Kunlun now will definitely lead to death and no return. When your strength improves in the future, go and check it out. Pei Jun secretly made a decision. Ida Euro-S hard not to be jealous of Kunlun Euro-S countless treasures, and Kunlun Mountain is said to contain the secret to the revival of the myth of this world. So if he has the strength in the future, he will definitely go there. I went out to have breakfast and continued practicing when I came back. Although the speed of cultivation is worrying now, the less can make more, Pei Jun comforts himself in his heart. Until the sun was setting in the west, his practice was interrupted by news notifications one after another. Ding dong, ding dong. Pei Jun opened his eyes, picked up his phone and saw that the university class group that had been silent for a long time became active at this time. Everyone in the group is chatting. Looking at the suddenly active class group, Pei Jun raised his eyebrows and thought deeply. Is the class reunion about to start? Sure enough, he saw Song Yi in the group and said, July will be the 3rd anniversary of graduation, and Miao Yi also happens to be returning to China. Does anyone want to get together? Pei Jun looked at Song Yi's name, murderous intent rolled in his eyes, and his whole expression turned cold. This name reminded him of some painful memories from his previous life. Everyone in the crowd bubbled. The goddess has returned to China. I haven't heard anything about Jing Miaoyi since graduation. It turns out she went abroad. Many students suddenly realized this. By the way, Mr. Song, how do you know? I have always been in contact with Miaoyi. Song Yi replied lightly. Sure enough, people from the same circle can't play together. I'm so jealous. Some classmates said enviously. Jing Miaoyi has been the center of conversation since college days. Everyone chatted about Jing Miaoyi, and then they all sighed. But it's been 3 years since graduation in a blink of an eye, so we need to have a good get-together. I don't know how everyone is doing, but I still miss them. Then let's get together. We want to get together. Let's get together. Seeing that everyone agreed that they wanted to get together, the person who started the incident, Song Yi, continued. Come to the Magic City. When the time comes, there will be a one-stop shop for eating, drinking and having fun. I'll treat everyone to it. Students who are far away, I will reimburse you for your round-trip expenses and hotel. As soon as Song Yi finished speaking, the group went crazy. As expected of Mr. Song, he is so arrogant. NB. It's already like this, who doesn't want to go? Go, go, go. Everyone responded. Everyone who comes here will sign up with the class monitor, and the class monitor will do the statistics. Song Yi at squad leader said, and then disappeared into the group. The monitor responded. Come on, students who want to come sign up here. Students in the group started to sign up or chatted about their past college experiences. Pei Jun silently watched the chat among the people in the group. In his previous life, he did not attend this class reunion. Because of downfall. I can't take leave because I'm at work. Because he doesn't want to waste time listening to boring flattery and pretense. Because of various reasons. But this time, after Pei Jun read the news, at squad leader said. I registrated. Although he did not attend the class reunion in his previous life, he later heard that 2 major events happened at the gathering. The first thing was that Song Yi held a huge confession ceremony for Jing Miaoyi, but was eventually rejected ruthlessly. This is also the reason why Song Yi proposed a class reunion. The second incident was that a dimensional fragment appeared in the Magic City, which was the hotel where their classmates had their reunion. Everyone present was pulled into the dimensional fragment. Dimension fragments, one of the products of the resurgence of mythology. It is said that the myths and legends spread on the earth are all true, and the mythical world really exists. But thousands of years ago, for unknown reasons, the mythical world was sealed and folded in another dimension. Therefore, the earth will be godless for thousands of years. But now that the myth is resurrected, it is the process of the seal collapsing and the folded dimension remerging with the earth dimension. Therefore, the revival of myth can actually be called dimensional fusion. This is the inference generally accepted by the public in Pei Jun's previous life and the late stage of the myth's recovery. As for the truth of the matter, no one knew it until Pei Jun's death. Dimension fragments are the non-overlapping and incompatible positions that occur accidentally during the fusion process of the folded mythical dimension and the Earth. It's like a bump on a flat surface. It preserves the state of the mythical dimension itself, as well as everything that once remained in the mythical dimension. And can enter it. If you are lucky, you can pick up magical weapons, magical skills, and even the bodies of gods and demons that have not dissipated. If you are unlucky, there will be nothing. At the same time, there are great horrors in the dimension fragments, which are extremely dangerous. If you are not careful, you will lose your life. Overall, Dimension Shards feels like a carbon copy of the game. A place where danger and opportunity coexist. This is what happened to the dimensional fragments that appeared at the class reunion location. In his previous life, Mr. Pei heard that this group of people encountered a very dangerous danger. All the classmates attending the class reunion and the hotel staff suffered heavy casualties. Of course, many people have benefited. Even with the benefits obtained this time, many people have made a name for themselves during the Shinwa revival period. Thinking of this, Pei Jun's eyes flashed. As far as he knows, this is one of the dimensional fragments that appeared before the revival of the myth, and it is also a fragment with huge profits. So he won't miss it. And he also knew that an extremely powerful damaged divine weapon appeared in the dimension fragments this time. It was a rare divine weapon during the mythical revival period. This is also one of the 3 treasures that he must obtain in his early plan. And Pei Jun looked at Song Yi's name with murderous intent rolling in his eyes. He still wanted to settle the accounts of his previous life. So there was nothing to think about, so Pei Jun directly signed up for this class reunion. The monitor sent back a message. Okay, smiley. Pei Jun put away his phone and his eyes became serious. The class reunion in my previous life should have been around mid-July, which is less than 2 months away. He needs to improve his strength as soon as possible before the class reunion, otherwise he will die if he enters the dimensional fragments by then. The tragic casualties in his previous life have reminded him that this dimension fragment is not a good place and may be full of dangers. So if he wants to enter it and gain something, he must have enough strength. Otherwise, he will die before he leaves the army. Pei Jun continued to practice for a while, until it turned dark and stopped. 9:15 p.m. Ida Euro's time for the lottery draw. Pei Jun let out a breath and adjusted his mood. Although I already knew the result, I didn't know why I was still a little nervous at this juncture. Wiping the sweat from his palms, Pei Jun clicked on the online lottery results. At the same time, in the lottery shop in the community that Pei Jun visited yesterday, the shop was not as deserted as during the day, and was quite lively at night. There are also many more people. Many lottery players after dinner happened to go out for a walk and check out the lottery information. There were also many migrant workers who had just gotten off work crowded into the store to buy lottery tickets. I feel like I can hit it this time. An elderly lottery player said firmly that he was the regular customer Mr. Pei met when he came yesterday. Lao Zhong, you say this every time, but you get hit every time. Someone laughed and made trouble. You don't understand, it feels different this time. Lao Zhong patted his stooped chest and said confidently. I heard that a lottery shop in the east of the city won 2 second prizes on Tuesday, each worth more than 200,000 yuan. Someone was talking about the gossip they heard on the road. It is true. Really. When I passed by today, I saw a big red banner hanging in the store. There are more than 400,000 yuan in total. It's more than 300,000 yuan after tax. Hiss. You said I have been buying lottery tickets for 20 or 30 years, when will I win a big prize? I've been 30 or 40 years, and I haven't won a big prize yet. Hey, when will it be our turn for this grand prize? Why buy lottery tickets? Not everyone wants to get rich in one day. Winning a jackpot. But there are only a few people who can really get rich in one day. Looking at the world, there are also very few people who win big prizes every year. Most people lose more and earn less to contribute to the country Euro's public welfare. Lao Zhong, who spoke before, answered with a smile. A euro oh look, a euro LL hit a big one this time. A euro. The shopkeeper, who had never interrupted, laughed. If you win a big one, I will also pull a big red banner for you and hang it at the entrance of our community. Watch it. Lao Zhong vowed. Hey, It's time, take a look. As soon as the words came out, the lottery shop that was noisy just now immediately fell silent. Everyone looked at the lottery information intently, and then compared the numbers one by one with their own lottery tickets. The 7th of May 09. After comparing the numbers one by one, many people quickly sighed. No more. €0 today €S is gone again. €. I missed it by 4 numbers. Why don't you say you're 6 numbers short? The sound in the store soon became noisy again, and everyone shook their heads in disappointment. Lao Zhang, who had sworn before the lottery was determined to win, now shook his head in despair and said, "It still doesn't feel right today." Then he threw the lottery ticket in his hand into the trash can. The person next to him burst out laughing. €. Oho just said we were going to win the jackpot today. €. Ha ha ha, you really believe what this old crooked melon says? Wait for me to study it further. Lao Zhang continued to study the trend chart without belief, while the others shook their heads. This prize means we are not going to die. And have you noticed that the last number of today's lottery is actually a straight number? Hey, it's true what you said. No matter what it is, the grand prize is not ours. It's time to go home and sleep. The disappointed people chatted and walked outside, while Lao Zhang and other veteran lottery players continued to study the trend chart. Seeing that nothing happened, the shopkeeper also sat down. Just as he was about to pick up the teacup and take a sip of water, the phone suddenly rang. Who's calling at this late hour? The shop owner looked at the time on the wall in confusion, took out his cell phone and looked at it, only to see that the call was marked as Manager Wang, the boss of the lottery shop. But there wasn't much communication in normal times, so the shop owner answered the phone suspiciously. Hey, what's going on? €. Big prize in your store. €. Manager Wang on the other end of the phone spoke quickly. What? Grand prize? The shopkeeper was stunned and repeated in confusion. Yes, first prize. Won the first class. The shopkeeper's voice suddenly became louder involuntarily, and he asked in disbelief. Everyone who had just walked out of the lottery shop stopped at their feet and turned around to look at the shop owner in confusion and shock. First prize. Everyone looked at each other in disbelief. Who? How do you know? Really? Someone asked suspiciously. At this time, the store owner also found the winning information from the backend center. Their store did win the first prize tonight. The shopkeeper swallowed his saliva, nodded and said, "It's a real hit." Who is that? The people who had just been about to leave didn't leave either. The store instantly became noisy, and everyone's volume unconsciously turned up a lot. The lottery tickets are not registered, how do you know? Is it you? Everyone looked at each other, but everyone in the store shook their heads. They wish it was them, but it's not. I'm more curious, how much is the first prize this time? Someone asked weakly. Yes, look how much it costs. Everyone responded one after another, and then quickly found the lottery information, only to see a series of numbers following the first prize. Everyone said in disbelief. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. When the count reached 100,000, many people were already a little jealous. When the count reached 1 million, many people even screamed in shock, and people in the narrow store were screaming. But what everyone never expected was that in the end it turned out to be as high as tens of millions. 10 million. The first prize is a total of 10 million yuan for a single bet. And according to the information revealed by the shop owner, the winner won more than one bet. In other words, the winner won tens of millions of yuan this time. Multi-millionaire. Suddenly, everyone in the lottery shop had red eyes, heavy breathing, and stared at the winning amount. Why, it's not me, someone wailed, and at the same time shouted out the wishes of everyone present. On the other side, Pei Jun in the rental house also clicked on the lottery information and checked the winning numbers several times. Pei Jun punched hard. It's done. The number is correct. The grand prize is in hand. Pei Jun's held breath finally became smoother. There is no difference between the lottery information and the memory of the previous life, exactly the same. Straight number. Same winning amount. The single bet amount is 10 million yuan, and the total amount is 70 million yuan. Even after tax, it should be more than 50 million yuan. And now, it's all in his hands. In the first step of rebirth, he succeeded. Pei Jun's face showed uncontrollable excitement, his mouth was raised, and he even laughed out loud in the end. After struggling for so long, I can finally take off. The next day, Pei Jun, who didn't get much rest all night, simply washed up, then put on his ID card and mask and went out to receive the award. As soon as I left the community, I saw a large group of people surrounding the lottery shop, which was usually empty during the day. The crowd was noisy and talking. Pei Jun came forward and listened to a few words. The reason why the crowd gathered was actually because of him. To be precise, €S because he won the lottery. After the lottery shop owner received the winning news yesterday, the store happened to be empty, so many people knew that someone in the store won the first prize. Then people checked the amount of the first prize. You won a €T no if you don't a €T check, but you a €LL be shocked if you check. With a single bet of 10 million, the astonishing figure shocked and excited many people on the spot, and made many experienced lottery players at the scene have their blood pressure rise. Then things fermented all night, and instead of stopping, they intensified. Many people were waiting in front of the lottery store this morning, wanting to see who won the big prize, or to see if they could make some money. Then the crowd got bigger and bigger. Fortunately, the first prize was claimed at the provincial lottery center, otherwise Pei Jun would have been a little wary of the huge crowd outside the lottery shop. Pei Jun shuddered and quickly got into the taxi. At the provincial lottery center, Pei Jun had already made an appointment by phone before coming, so he started going through the process when he arrived. Except for the fact that the staff lamented Pei Jun's youth during the process, nothing unexpected happened. Excluding donations and tax deductions. Finally got 55 million yuan. In just 3 days, Pei Jun went from being poor to a multi-millionaire. This was something he couldn't even imagine in his previous life, but now it really happened. Now, he has enough confidence to support his early layout. Looking at the check in his hand, Pei Jun clenched his fists with both hands, and the ambition in his eyes became more and more intense. This is just the beginning. After the money was received, Pei Jun immediately began to implement the follow-up plan. First up is the sunset hanging drum visualization from the Christie's auction. The auction will be held on the 1st of next month, and because the location is in the Magic City, Pei Jun plans to hand it over to a professional client to auction it on his behalf. He himself was looking for another Taoist treasure, the Sanqing Bell, in Hangzhou. A two-pronged approach. Returning to the community, Pei Jun saw a big red banner hanging outside the lottery shop at the entrance of the community. Congratulations to our store for winning the $1 million prize. The crowded lottery shop was packed with people who came to get rich, and countless people on the roadside looked at the multi-million jackpot on the banner with envy. Pei Jun looked at the scene in front of him with emotion. In his previous life, he was one of them, watching others win big prizes with envy, and even dreamed of buying lottery tickets when he went home at night. In this life, he no longer has to watch other people's success from the side of the road. In this life, he will become the envy of others. The existence that everyone looks up to. After returning home, Pei Jun immediately started to take action. First, he used money to pave the way and quickly found a proxy agent. This is a professional commissioning company with extremely high reputation and extremely high prices in Shanghai. Business is very busy on weekdays. Not all orders are accepted, especially urgent orders like Pei Jun. When the person in charge of the agency photography company heard about Pei Jun's time request, he directly rejected Pei Jun. Because they accept the entrustment, they need to review the customer's information and the value of the lot, and also need to learn about other auctioneers, situations and various information. The procedure is very cumbersome. The preparation time takes only 2 weeks to start. But Pei Jun opened his mouth and it was 4 days later. The person in charge of the company declined. Sorry sir, this time. Pei Jun raised his eyebrows and said calmly. Add money. Finally, under Pei Jun's financial offensive, the person in charge of the entrusting company said firmly. Don't worry, we will definitely help you get the lot you want in 4 days. €0 will definitely help you get it at the best price, €1. €0 you will definitely receive your goods on time, €1. With 3 firm guarantees from the person in charge of the company, Pei Jun put away the phone with satisfaction. If you have money, you can do whatever you want. Then he thought about the information about another treasure, the Sanqing bell. Because he had never seen Sanqing bell in his previous life, Pei Jun's knowledge of Sanqing bell was actually limited. He only knew that Sanqing bell should be in an antique shop in Hangzhou at this time. The shop owner's surname is Wu. The Sanqing bell is the ancestral treasure of the shop owner. In the future, this shopkeeper Wu will become the real person of Wu in Longhu Mountain, the ancestral court of Taoism. With the power of the Sanqing bell, he will become famous in the mythical revival period. Therefore, if you want to find a Sanqing bell, you must first start at an antique store. With the idea in mind, Pei Jun immediately took action and started searching online for information about antique shops in Hangzhou, and soon got the results. But the result made Pei Jun frown tightly. Because there are too many. There are hundreds of antique shops shown on the map. Fortunately, these antique shops are mainly concentrated in 3 areas, namely Hangzhou Antique City, Wushan Antique City, and Qianwang Antique City. It's a little hard to find. Although I thought the process would not be easy, but... The corner of Pei Jun's mouth twitched and he sighed silently in his heart. Although it was difficult to find, he couldn't give up. Pei Jun quickly packed up his things and then set off to the antique city. Hangzhou Antique City is one of the 3 major antique cities in Hangzhou. It has a dazzling array of antiques and antiques. It is a paradise for antique lovers. But for Pei Jun, it is torture. Because there was no more information, Pei Jun could only search in store after store. When entering the store, first look for an object similar to a Sanqing bell, and then pretend to chat with the boss for a while, asking for his last name. In this way, Pei Jun searched one by one, until it was dark, and he only visited 1/3 of the shops. Watching the door of the antique city slowly closing, Pei Jun squatted feebly on the steps at the door. Today's day's search was not only tiring his legs but also his mouth. And nothing was gained. How long will it take to find out if this continues? Ida such a waste of time. He was ready to change his approach. Pei Jun took out his mobile phone while taking a taxi home. After thinking for a while, he clicked on the part-time group of a former university where he studied in Hangzhou. Although it has been 3 years since graduation, the part-time university group is still active. After all, who doesn't like a labor force that is strong in learning ability, obedient, and cheap? Pei Jun thought for a while and edited a message. Urgently recruiting store sweepers. Requirements: good physical strength, good at chatting, strong observation skills, and good conduct. Wage: 200 per day, paid daily. This is Pei Jun's method, pay someone to find it. In this way, the efficiency has increased, and I have more time to practice. It was a time when college students were free at night, and many people saw Pei Jun's part-time job information. Pei Jun's friend additions soon started to appear one after another. By the time Pei Jun got home, he had already selected several suitable part-timers and made an appointment to meet tomorrow. Then practice and sleep. The next day, Pei Jun met with several part-time workers he had arranged to do outside the antique city gate, and briefly discussed the requirements for cleaning the store. Everyone quickly took action. Looking at the people moving around, Pei Jun is sure of victory this time. He couldn't believe that he couldn't find it like this. But time passed by little, until it was getting dark, no good news came, and everyone in the operation came back one after another. Nothing was found. Pei Jun frowned and settled his wages for the day. On the 3rd day, Pei Jun expanded his manpower and continued the search based on yesterday's results. Still found nothing. Pei Jun's brows furrowed even more. On the 4th day, all 3 antique cities had been searched by the personnel arranged by Pei Jun, and some areas were even searched several times. But still nothing gained. There are many shops selling Sanqing bells, but the shopkeepers' surnames never match up, and Pei Jun has also visited these shops in person. Make sure that none of the Sanqing bells in the store are the Sanqing bells you are looking for. Although he doesn't have much strength now, after these few days of continuous practice, he has accumulated a few traces of spiritual energy in his body. These few strands of spiritual energy can help him confirm and activate the spiritual treasures. Could it be that I remembered it wrong? Faced with repeated failures, Pei Jun has doubted himself more than once in the past 2 days. It shouldn't be. Recalling it again and again, Pei Jun confirmed that he remembered it correctly. But why can't I find it? Did an accident happen, or is there other information that I don't know? Pei Jun frowned and scratched his head irritably. Do we really have to give up? Pei Jun fell into deep thought. Just when Pei Jun was at a loss, a part-time girl who had just collected the money but had not left immediately hesitated for a moment, and then asked. Handsome boy, are you looking for Sanqingling? Pei Jun raised his head, looked at the girl suspiciously and said. Yes, the ancestral Sanqing bell was sold by my father to a boss named Wu. I heard that this boss Wu is an antique dealer in Hangzhou. To avoid arousing suspicion, this was the reason he made up these days. The ancestral Sanqing bell was sold by his father to a boss named Wu. Now that his family is rich, he wants to take it back. Hence the search over the past few days. The girl who spoke nodded, thought for a moment and said. Besides these 3 antique cities, there is another place to buy and sell antiques in Hangzhou. When Pei Jun heard this, his eyes lit up. The girl continued. If you are not a local, you may not know that the busiest antique business in Hangzhou is actually in the Ghost Market, which is also the favorite place for antique gourmets. Pei Jun repeated doubtfully. Ghost Market. The girl nodded enthusiastically and said. Hangzhou Collectibles Market, also known as the 200 Market. But we locals prefer to call it the Ghost Market. The girl talking to Pei Jun is a native of Hangzhou. Since I was a child, I have been walking around the streets with my grandfather who loves antiques, and I have learned a lot about the large and small antique markets in Hangzhou. Seeing that Pei Jun got nothing for several days in a row. College students have a gene for helping others, so she couldn't help but talk a few more words, and of course why Pei Jun was so happy to check out. With the new clues, Pei Jun finally relaxed his frown and said gratefully to the girl. Thank you for the message. The girl smiled and said. It's okay, I also want to make money for one more day. Hearing this, Pei Jun also laughed and said boldly. If I can find something tomorrow, I'll give you more money then. I'm afraid it won't work tomorrow. The Ghost Market only opens every Saturday morning, and it only opens half a day every week. The girl shook her head. Pei Jun's brows that had just relaxed furrowed again. It's only Monday today, so if it's Saturday, it means we'll still have to wait 5 days. But now there is no other way but to wait. Pei Jun sighed, made an appointment with the girl for next Saturday, and then they dispersed. The next morning, a mirage suddenly appeared in Kunlun Mountain, and Tibetans heard wild beasts roaring late at night. A tourist witnessed the astonishing light of Buddha appearing on Mount Puchuo, attracting a large number of Buddhists to make a pilgrimage. A mysterious black figure suddenly appeared in the Yangtze River basin, and witnesses said it was suspected to be a sea monster. It's only been a month and a half since the revival of the myth, but more and more visions have appeared in various places, and they can also be seen occasionally in the news. Pei Jun was eating breakfast downstairs, and the morning news was playing on the TV in the store. People eating in the breakfast shop were chatting in small groups, and no one paid attention to the shocking news in the news. Even if they saw it, most of them would make a few comments. It is said that TV stations have also begun to waste money just for traffic. He was not like this in his previous life. Pei Jun shook his head, finished his meal, paid and walked out of the store, waving for a taxi on the side of the road. Master, go to the largest Mercedes-Benz 4S store in Hangzhou. When I visited the antique city a few days ago, Pei Jun felt more and more missing a car. Taking a taxi back and forth every day is too much trouble, and in the future he will definitely travel around the city or even out of the province in order to seize the opportunity at any time. It will be much more convenient if you have a car. Especially now that there is no shortage of money. Although the world has changed greatly in the future, people have become accustomed to using Lingbao magical powers for transportation, and cars as a transportation tool have gradually withdrawn from the stage of history. But now, I still have to buy one. He had already considered the car model last night and decided to buy the AMG G63, also known as the Big G. This is a car that he liked very much in his previous life. The hardcore appearance and high performance of the car have won his heart. But the high price in his previous life deterred him. Moreover, Big G is regarded as a very top off-road vehicle in the world. It can adapt to various complex road conditions, and it is easy to cross mountains and ridges. Perfect for the upcoming resurgence of the myth. The myth revives and the world changes. As the two dimensions gradually merge, the entire world will become infinitely larger. The mountains, rivers and swamps will become more majestic and precipitous, and the once prosperous cities will undergo earth-shaking changes. The roads that once ran through the city will be torn apart by the earth, all the prosperous cities will collapse and be destroyed, and the whole world will become more primitive and wild. Under such circumstances, ordinary cars simply cannot adapt to such drastic changes, and only off-road vehicles with excellent performance can barely survive for a while. So now that he was ready to buy a car, Pei Jun quickly made a decision in his mind. Arrived at the 4S store. As the largest Mercedes-Benz 4S store in Hangzhou, although it is a working day, there are still many customers. Several salesmen in uniforms in the store are entertaining customers. So after Pei Jun entered the door, no one came to greet him immediately. Pei Jun didn't take it seriously. He didn't like being followed at any time, so he walked around leisurely. Luxury cars with luxurious or grand designs are parked in the glass hall. Ambilight and pleasing to the eye. In his previous life, he could only watch from a distance outside the hall, and had no confidence to walk into a place like this. Pei Jun sighed and started shopping casually. After walking around in a circle, Pei Jun walked to his destination this time, the Big G exhibition area. A large G with a domineering and luxurious appearance was parked in front of him. The visual impact was so full that Pei Jun couldn't walk in an instant. I believe that no man can refuse the temptation in front of him. There are G500, G350, and the G63 that Pei Jun wants to buy, and even the discontinued G65. Pei Jun's eyes swept across the luxury cars excitedly, and finally his eyes stopped at the center of the exhibition area. This is. A flash of doubt flashed in Pei Jun's eyes. And a touch of heartbeat. I saw a G63 with a slightly different appearance parked alone in the center of the Big G exhibition area. Other vehicles were parked around this car, as if they were all defending this car. From what Pei Jun knows, this should be a G63, but compared to the ordinary G63, the appearance of this car is more luxurious and domineering, and the visual impact is also stronger. The surrounding cars were overshadowed. What car is this? Pei Jun was curious. It just so happened that at this moment, a beautiful anchor wearing a uniform and black stockings was broadcasting live to the luxurious Big G in the center. In his previous life, Mr. Pei also watched many live broadcasts of such beautiful cars. This is also a promotional method currently equipped by large 4S stores. Pei Junjung wanted to know the situation of the car, so he got closer. At this time, the beautiful anchor was talking shyly to the live broadcast room. Many brothers are interested in this big guy behind me, so let me explain it to you. This big guy was modified and upgraded from a Mercedes-Benz G63 by the top modification brand Maisari, so it is different from the ordinary G63. The Maisari P900, which is limited to 10 units worldwide, is the same as Brabus, the king of Mercedes-Benz tuners. Maisari has not only customized a full set of personalized interior and carbon fiber exterior kits for this new Mercedes-Benz G63. Its performance has also been greatly improved through cylinder expansion and adjustment. Euro SO whether ita Euro S in terms of appearance, interior, or performance hardware, this big guy completely beats the ordinary G63. Euro Othis is also the highlight of our store. Euro. Hearing the beautiful anchor's words, Pei Jun understood in his heart that no wonder this car was different. At the same time, Pei Jun's heart beat loudly and his eyes were blazing. I have to say, this car made him excited. So Pei Jun prepared to take a closer look at the car's condition and walked to the car. At this time, the beautiful anchor was standing next to the car with an enchanting posture and said to the live broadcast room. Thank you for your attention, brothers, please be careful. Our store is the largest Mercedes-Benz 4S store in Hangzhou. If you are free, you can come and have a look. If you want to see black silk stockings, brother, you can come to the store and have a look. If you buy a car, you won't get the anchor for free. If my brother buys the big guy behind me, I might consider it. The beautiful anchor smiled sweetly and ignored Pei Jun, who was walking by. Pei Jun admired it for himself. The visual effect brought by the carbon fiber texture of the entire car was indeed more luxurious and domineering. Pei Jun walked around the car and became more and more satisfied with it, so he was ready to get in the car and take a look. The beautiful anchor who was live broadcasting next to the car suddenly saw someone else in the live broadcast and was about to open the door and get in the car. The beauty anchor's face changed, and she quickly turned around to stop her. Wait a minute, what do you want to do? The car behind her is the treasure of the store. Today, the boss specially drove it for the live broadcast effect. It is not usually visited by ordinary people and mainly targets high-end customers. The main reason is that this car is too expensive. There are only 10 of them in the world, and ordinary people cannot afford it. Moreover, if an average person gets damaged or knocked a little bit during the visit, they can't afford to pay for it even if they sell it. So when she saw Pei Jun about to get in the car, the female anchor quickly stopped him. Watch cars. Pei Jun paused and raised his eyebrows. After hearing what Pei Jun said, the female anchor glanced at Pei Jun up and down, and saw that Pei Jun's whole body was covered with Taobao stall goods. The female anchor sneered in her heart. I don't know where this kind of person got the courage to do this. The female anchor's expression remained unchanged, but her tone was somewhat contemptuous. Don't touch it randomly. You can't afford to pay for it if it gets damaged. Hearing what the female anchor said, Pei Jun felt a little uncomfortable. He had never heard of people buying a car without letting anyone touch it. So he frowned and said, I'm going to buy a car and find out more about it. With that said, he opened the car door and stepped into the car. Seeing Pei Jun's actions, the female anchor's face darkened and she screamed. You, come down. Don't touch it. Pei Jun was unmoved and continued to look at the decorations in the car, even reaching out here and there to try out the feel. Not bad indeed. The female anchor looked at Pei Jun's actions in horror and screamed. Someone is coming. Security, security. The screams of the female anchor quickly attracted the security guards outside the store, and even many customers and sales were attracted. What happened? The security captain asked. This man is causing trouble. The female anchor screamed, and several security guards looked at Pei Jun in the car with unkind expressions. With things like this, Pei Jun couldn't continue watching. He got out of the car and looked at the female anchor with a cold expression. Several security guards were about to step forward and detain Pei Jun. Pei Jun glanced at the security guards who were about to step forward with cold eyes, and murderous intent suddenly appeared in his eyes. After more than 10 years of killing in his previous life, the murderous aura in Pei Jun's eyes now seemed to be real. Several security guards shuddered and paused. Everyone was in a stalemate. Fortunately, the general manager of the car shop ran over quickly, looked at the messy scene, frowned and asked. What happened? I want to buy a car. Pei Jun said calmly. The female anchor's face turned black at this time, and she even said angrily. Are you buying a car? Do you know how much this car costs? Pei Jun raised his eyebrows and asked calmly. How much? 8 million. The female anchor screamed. The crowd was in an uproar. They all felt that the car was very good, but they did not expect that the car was so expensive. At this price, most people really can't afford it. Can you afford it? You can't even afford it if I sell you to northern Myanmar. The female anchor looked at Pei Jun up and down and said in a sarcastic tone. Although what the female anchor said was unpleasant, everyone in the audience looked at Pei Jun and shook their heads inwardly. This young man looks young, and the clothes he wears are all Taobao bargains, and his image has not been carefully taken care of. He does not look like a rich man. The general manager is a very good person. He had an estimate in his mind when he first saw Pei Jun. However, seeing so many customers watching around him, he said in a polite tone. Handsome guy, we have other models in our store, I can introduce them to you. Swipe your card. Pei Jun directly interrupted the general manager and took out a card. What? The general manager stopped talking and looked at Pei Jun in surprise. I said swipe my card and I bought this car. Pei Jun's tone was calm, as if buying this car was as easy as buying a bottle of water. Wow. Pei Jun's words were like a bomb, causing an uproar in an instant. There had been a lot of customers and salespeople watching the scene just now. At this time, everyone looked at Pei Jun in shock. Incredible. Does this young man really want to buy a car? This is an 8 million car. You can buy it right away. The general manager was also in a state of shock and disbelief. This car is considered one of the treasures of their store. Many customers with strong capital have learned about it in the past year, but they have never sold it. Because the price is indeed not cheap. But I didn't expect that the young man in front of me would buy it casually. The female anchor with a sarcastic look on the other side opened her mouth wide and her beautiful eyes widened. She didn't expect that this ordinary-looking young man could actually afford it. And so arrogant. The female anchor's live broadcast has not been closed, and the entire incident has been broadcast live. The number of people in the live broadcast room is not less, but more and more. Everyone wanted to see how things would turn out, but unexpectedly. I thought they were causing trouble, but I didn't expect that I really wanted to buy a car. I thought he was here to cause trouble. The main reason is that this guy is dressed too ordinary. I can't tell he is a rich man at all. Perhaps this is how rich people are. Don't they all say that those who wear slippers and underpants are the bosses? Surprised me. Where did this rich second generation come from? This is a rich man, isn't he? 8 million eyes won't even blink. Why do I feel that buying a car is as easy for rich people as it is for me to buy vegetables at the vegetable market? I just realized that this little brother is so handsome. The host has hit a brick wall this time, so I have a moment of silence for the host. I feel sorry for the host. Everyone in the live broadcast room commented in shock that today they had opened their eyes to the world of rich people. You want to buy a car? The general manager checked with Pei Jun again. Pei Jun nodded, and the general manager's attitude instantly became much more enthusiastic. I will take you to the VIP room and introduce this car to you in detail. Let's all disperse. After dismissing the crowd, the general manager respectfully led Pei Jun upstairs. When he turned around, he glared at the still stunned female anchor. The female anchor wanted to cry but had no tears. After verifying that Pei Jun was indeed able to buy a car, the general manager immediately eagerly helped Pei Jun start the various procedures. During this period, even the director of the car shop came over, chatted eagerly with Pei Jun, and gave Pei Jun a discount of tens of thousands of yuan on the spot as an apology. He also asked the dull female anchor to come in and apologize to Pei Jun. When it got dark, Pei Jun finally drove his modified Big G. Pei Jun drove the car for a lap in the suburbs of the city. The accelerator roared and the feeling of speed made him experience a powerful and wanton feeling. Moreover, this luxurious Big G is extremely eye-catching, and it attracted the attention of countless people along the way. After having enough fun, Pei Jun slowly drove back to the community. Parking the car outside the community, Pei Jun walked home. He wanted to be clean for a few more days. As soon as I got home, the phone rang. It's the phone number of the auction consignment company. Pei Jun had been waiting for this call for a long time. After receiving the call, he immediately connected it. The hearty laughter of the person in charge of the entrusting company came from the other end of the phone. Mr. Pei, you have fulfilled your mission. Hearing this, Pei Jun breathed a sigh of relief. The 3 clear bells in the past 2 days had made him feel uneasy, and he was afraid that something would go wrong with the sunset hanging drum visualization diagram. Fortunately, everything went well. The person in charge on the opposite side said a little embarrassedly. Because the competition in this auction was too fierce, the prices of the entire lot increased by 10%, so the total cost was 22 million yuan. Pei Jun said calmly. It's okay, just get it. I'll call you the balance later. The person in charge said. Okay, the items will be delivered to you in Hangzhou within 2 days. Hurry up, the money is easy to negotiate. Pei Jun's expression remained unchanged. Okay, I'll deliver it to you tomorrow. The person in charge immediately assured. €1 if you need to consign anything for auction in the future, you are welcome to contact me at any time. €1. The next morning, Pei Jun, who was practicing, suddenly heard a knock on the door. Bang bang bang. Pei Jun opened his eyes in surprise, wondering who was looking for him so early. After opening the door, Mr. Pei, your package. Looking at the visualization picture sent from Shanghai overnight, Pei Jun raised his eyebrows in surprise. Money can make the world go round, but the ancients will not deceive me. After signing for it, Pei Jun carried the package into the house. Simply sweeping all the items on the table aside, Pei Jun slowly opened the package with a slightly excited expression. A magnificent and thick sunset picture slowly unfolds. Pei Jun suddenly felt that his whole mind was being pulled, and the whole painting revealed the weight and vicissitudes of history. The sun is hanging and the drum is setting in the west. The red sun hung like a drum in the sky, dyeing the whole world red. Looking at the paintings in front of him, Pei Jun felt that a ray of spiritual energy accumulated in his body in the past few days was slightly aroused, and he could vaguely hear the sound of Buddhist singing and drums filling the sky. Sure enough. Is this the magic of the top skills in previous lives? Pei Jun looked shocked. This visualization diagram could trigger changes in the spiritual energy in his body before he was fully revived, making people feel like they were hearing strange phenomena. What if there is a complete recovery? Pei Jun did not hesitate, and activated a ray of spiritual energy in his body to flow into the visualization chart along his fingertips. With the influx of spiritual energy, the already extraordinary sunset hanging drum view instantly became even more extraordinary, and the entire magnificent scene seemed to come alive. Pei Jun could only hear the drumming in his ears becoming clearer and clearer, and even vaguely starting to overlap with the beating of his heart. A large red sun leaps out of the picture and finally hangs high in the sky, filling the entire room with red glow. The rays of light shrouded Pei Jun's body, making him feel refreshed, and even bursts of warmth spread through his body. The rays of light penetrated the skin. If Pei Jun looked at his skin at this time, he would find that red lines began to flow under his skin, and the entire skin was glowing with red light. Pei Jun's mind was empty at this time, and he felt as if he was standing in the magnificent sky in the far west. In front of him was the vast red sunset, and there were countless statues of Guanyin and Arhat appearing vaguely between the sky and the earth. In my ears, the magnificent sound of Buddha echoed. You and all sentient beings should concentrate on one place and think about the West. Why do you think about it? All sentient beings who think about it are not born blind. Those who have eyes will see the sun disappearing and should think about it. Sit facing west and look closely at the place where the sun is about to disappear. Keep your mind firm and concentrate on it. You will see that the sun is about to disappear, like a hanging drum. Now that I see the sun, I close my eyes and open them, and everything becomes clear. It's thinking about the sun, and it's called first observation. I don't know how long it took before the loud Buddha's voice in my ears gradually dissipated, and Pei Jun's thoughts of relaxation finally subsided. Opening his eyes, there was a faint red sun flashing across his eyes, adding some eerie charm to Pei Jun's eyes. Pei Jun was still a little shocked by the miraculous vision brought about by the top-level skills. He took a few deep breaths to calm down and began to check his own changes. Soon, Pei Jun's expression became excited, even a little shocked. Because there are so many benefits just gained. First of all, there is an additional Buddhist teaching called the Infinite Life Sutra in my mind. I don't know the level of the teaching, but there is this description in the teaching. If you learn this method, you will no longer wander through the 6 realms, and you will no longer experience misfortune, success or failure, honor or disgrace. The lifespan cannot be measured even by the number of eons of sand. This is the method of longevity for me, Sakyamuni Buddha. The secret to longevity. Pei Jun looked shocked. Even in his previous life, he had never heard of any method that could lead to immortality. This is definitely the best mental method in the world. No wonder the precious light Buddha in his previous life was born not long ago, but he quickly achieved great fame. With this piece of advice, you have the hope of everlasting life. In addition, Pei Jun also acquired a magical power related to eye skills, sunset. That is, the red sun vaguely appeared in Pei Jun's eyes. Prompting the sunset can pull any life into the sunset illusion. If the illusion cannot be broken in time, the soul will eventually die as the red sun sets in the west. Grows with strength. It can be said to be a very powerful illusion. It has been more than 10 years since the myth of the previous life was revived. There are very few people who have mastered the innate magical powers. Everyone is a powerful person. Every time a magical power appears, it will trigger a bloody storm. Innate magical powers are rare and precious, and Pei Jun has never mastered any kind of magical powers in his previous life. I can only envy you. In addition, the sunset hanging drum visualization can also create a precious light-glazed Vajra body. As long as you visualize the setting sun hanging drum visualization, the red clouds in the visualization will subtly improve the talent and physique of the visualizer, and finally reach the point of glazed Vajra body. Pei Jun was looking at his skin at this time, and saw that there were faint dark red lines under the skin, and there was even more gleaming red light on the skin. Pei Jun clenched his fists and felt that his strength had been slightly improved, and other aspects of his body had also been strengthened. If he can continue to meditate, his physical fitness will reach an astonishing level. Pity. Each visualization consumes a lot of spiritual energy. The spiritual energy that Pei Jun had accumulated for several days could only last for a few seconds. To achieve the precious light-glazed Vajra body, the spiritual energy required is an astonishing number. But there is hope, so take your time in the follow-up. Pei Jun clenched his fists with excitement in his eyes. After becoming familiar with his own changes, Pei Jun immediately began to practice, and the Infinite Life Sutra began to slowly circulate in his body. While Pei Jun was practicing, something related to him happened on the internet. Shocked, a man was slighted when he bought a car and swiped 8 million on his credit card on the spot. A video began to circulate wildly on the internet. It turned out that a fan of yesterday's female anchor recorded everything that happened in the car shop yesterday, and then made it into a video and posted it online. Unexpectedly, the video instantly became popular and began to spread widely. Many netizens lamented under the video. Sure enough, people cannot be judged by their appearance, and sea water cannot be measured. My little brother's swiping action is so cool. I love it. Someone's eyes were filled with stars. Some netizens begged, €E asking for my little brother €S contact information for a lot of money. €. Some people even said they were very satisfied. Normally, the sales of these stores are very low compared to others. I've long been unhappy with them, but this time I finally hit the wall. In a coffee shop in Hangzhou, two beauties dressed like ladies had just finished taking photos and videos and were preparing to post them online. One of the beauties said, "Hey, Song Yan, watch this video." As he spoke, he forwarded Pei Jun's video to the beauty named Song Yan. Song Yan was busy replying to the compliments from the friends circle, and asked doubtfully, "What video?" It was said that someone bought a car and was looked down upon by the salesperson, and then angrily paid 8 million on the spot. Tan Lan, who spoke first, was wide-eyed and said in shock, "A joke?" Song Yan raised her eyebrows, a little suspicious. "It's true. Watch the video." Tan Lan sighed. "Hey, it's true that these rich people wear such ordinary clothes despite being so rich. Some rich people just keep a low profile." Song Yan continued. Tan Lan smoothed his hair and said yearningly, "I wonder when we can marry a rich man." "Hey, Song Yan, what happened to the second-generation rich man you dated last time?" There was a hint of disdain on Song Yan's pretty face. "What kind of rich second generation? He just has a bad situation at home, but he is so poor and wants to sleep with me. I should have kicked him out." As he spoke, he clicked on the video forwarded by Tan Lan. "I also met a weird guy some time ago. He was a poor guy who insisted on pretending to be a rich second generation. As soon as I got in the car, I knew he was renting his Ferrari, and he told me that he bought it." Tan Lan folded his arms and leaned lazily on the chair, smiling sarcastically. "I didn't expose him either. I didn't expect this loser to lend me a loan and buy me a bag. Do you think he is stupid or am I too charming?" Tan Lan touched his face and said proudly, "In order to teach him a lesson, I happily accepted this bag to let him know that a toad can never eat swan meat." A flash of sarcasm flashed in Tan Lan's eyes. "Hey, you said there are so many licking dogs in my pond, why can't I meet rich people? Do you have any other high-quality resources that you can recommend to me?" After Tan Lan finished speaking, she found that Song Yan didn't answer the call for a long time, but looked at the video on her phone with a strange expression. "What's wrong?" Tan Lan raised his eyebrows and came closer. Song Yan then raised her head, but her brows were furrowed and she hesitated for a long time before saying. The person in this video seems to be Junpei. Junpei. Who? Tan Lan's eyes were puzzled, and after thinking for a few seconds, he suddenly realized. It's that, the one you said has been chasing you since college. The most affectionate licking of a dog. Tan Lan thought of Song Yan's evaluation of Pei Jun and burst into laughter. Is it really him? It's him. Although Song Yan was a little disbelieving and skeptical, the person in the video was indeed Pei Jun, and she would not admit her mistake. Is he so rich? Tan Lan instantly stood up in surprise, but then frowned again. Didn't you say that he was poor or an orphan? Right. Song Yan frowned and nodded. When Pei Jun chased her, she found someone to find out about Pei Jun's situation. Is the information inaccurate? That shouldn't be the case. She was originally asking about his roommate with whom he had the best relationship. Although the words of Pei Jun's roommate were often disparaging, the real situation should be similar. Did he lie to you in the first place? Or are you making money recently? Tan Lan guessed curiously. Song Yan shook her head. Although Pei Jun often sent her messages in the past 2 years, she never responded to him at all. This is also the reason why Song Yan calls Pei Jun the most affectionate licker and has not given up for so many years. So Song Yan naturally didn't know Pei Jun's current situation, and was very surprised by the situation in the video. Hey, no matter what, as long as you have money. This is 8 million. If someone buys it as soon as he wants, it means that his worth must be higher. If you are the second generation of rich people, you should accompany them to enjoy life and see the mountains and rivers. If you are the second generation of rich people, you should accompany them to continue to struggle, so as to add more fragrance to your sleeves. Tan Lan covered her mouth and smiled. Didn't you say that he has contacted you recently? Hurry up and get in touch. Such a high-quality resource is easily worth 8 million. How rich it is. Tan Lan said with a somewhat eager expression. And I have such deep affection for you, so if you take action, you will definitely be sure of it. Tan Lan said with a little envy in her eyes, why is there no rich and affectionate licking dog in her fish pond? Song Yan was already moved. She ignored Pei Jun before because Pei Jun's conditions were too poor and he only had a good face. But now it's completely different. If you wait a little longer, maybe the golden turtle husband will be lured away by someone else. Tan Lan said with a smile. Song Yan bit her lip. Her dream in this life was not to marry a rich man and live the life of a rich wife. He immediately made up his mind and took out his cell phone. Soon I found Pei Jun's WeChat message among the messages about dog licking. The content of WeChat still contained a caring message that Pei Jun sent him 10 days ago. Fortunately, I was thinking of leaving a spare tire to take over, so I didn't delete Pei Jun. Song Yan secretly breathed a sigh of relief, and then thought about how to reply to Pei Jun's message. Tan Lan on the side made suggestions. Didn't they ask you before if you were tired from work? Just send a photo that you took today, and then say that you were really tired after working for a while. You finally have a rest today and go out to have a coffee with your little sisters. Tan Lan said with twinkling eyes. Men are visual creatures. Send a photo first to catch his eyes. Then you hint that he has been tired from work recently, stimulating his protective desire as a man and making him feel sorry for you. At the same time, through subtext such as cafes and photo scenes, you tell him that you live a high-class life and are worthy of his status, so that he can subconsciously create a sense of identity. Then with subsequent pulls, I can win it in one fell swoop. Tan Lan made a fist with 5 fingers and was very happy. When Tan Lan said this, Song Yan had already started to edit the information. Both of them were fishing masters, so she was naturally comfortable with these methods of catching men. Tan Lan held her chin on the side and said with envy. When the time comes when you marry into a wealthy family, you must take your sister with you. Don't worry, we 2 sisters have a deep love. What's mine is what's yours. Song Yan said boldly with a smile, as if she had married into a wealthy family. What they don't know is that in order to avoid interrupting their practice, Pei Jun has now become accustomed to turning all mobile phones into silent mode. So naturally the message sent by Song Yan was not found. In the cafe, Song Yan's message had been sent for several minutes, but there was still no response. What happened? The two frowned and thought, and Tan Lan said seriously. Is it because he is rich and doesn't like you anymore? Song Yan was furious and ready to fight. Tan Lan ducked away and laughed and said. You're kidding, we Yan Yan are so beautiful, with suitors lining up all the way to the West Lake, how could anyone look down on her? Maybe you are busy. Rich people have many things to do. How about I send him another message? Song Yan frowned slightly. Tan Lan raised her eyebrows and said. Yan Yan, you can't eat hot tofu if you're anxious. Pulling is the best way. Wait a little longer. Time passed little by little until the sun set. In the rental house, Pei Jun was practicing cross-legged with a faint red light emerging from his body, making his whole figure seem to be wrapped in a red sun, facing the setting sun in the sky. It wasn't until the sunset in the distant sky completely set that the red light around Pei Jun gradually dissipated under his skin, and Pei Jun slowly opened his eyes. Two red suns rotated strangely in his eyes, and then disappeared deep into his pupils. Pei Jun had a smile on his face. The Infinite Life Sutra is worthy of being the top method of immortality, and its cultivation speed is extraordinary. If the spiritual energy attracted by practicing the Tai Ching Chi mind method is like threading a needle and thread, then the spiritual energy attracted by practicing the Infinite Life Sutra is like a river flowing backward. Even though the spiritual energy of the earth is still thin now, today's one-day practice is comparable to Pei Jun's nearly 10 days of practice before. Ida Euro-S even as fast as his previous life a Euro-S cultivation speed. Pei Jun can even imagine that after Shinhua is completely revived, his strength will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. I saw that the ray of spiritual energy accumulated in the body became more concentrated and strong, swimming inside the body like a green snake circling, constantly clearing the blocked meridians and acupuncture points in Pei Jun's body. If he continues to practice at this speed, he may be able to complete the foundation building in less than half a month. Reaching the level of cultivation that took more than 2 years to reach in his previous life. The $20 million are really worth it. Pei Jun looked excitedly at the sunset hanging drum visualization map spread out on the table. This is the beginning of his ascent to the top. With this visualization picture, he will have more confidence and strength to welcome the upcoming mythical era. Thanks for the subscribe and support my channel.